Rev up your engines! Well, if you think you can't get a good deal on a used truck, think again. Guy bought this '07 Tundra with less than 9,000 miles on it. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got the V8 engine. It's in phenomenal shape. And believe it or not, he didn't bring it. It had a snowplow attachment on it that he's going to sell online to get some of his money back. 4-wheel drive, you can't beat it, and especially this is the V8. I've seen these V8 engines go 500,000 miles, and they're still running perfectly fine. As I warned people when Toyota Tundras went to the V6 twin turbo, don't buy one. They could have problems. Well, that was 2 years ago that I warned people. Now they say they got to replace 100,000 of those engines. Not these V8 engines. These are strong engines. And yeah, he gets 14 miles a gallon on the highway. Try one of those V6 twin turbos. They might get 15 miles a gallon. It isn't that much. And they'll get worse gas mileage towing because the V6 twin turbos are going to use more gas than a V8 when you tow. The smaller an engine, the more it tows, the worse gas mileage it's going to get. You can see it's a beautiful truck. And finding one this cheap is kind of amazing. He's got seat covers on because he likes it. He doesn't want to get the seats dirty. I don't blame him. You can see the gigantic armrest and the power outlets. But it's what's under the hood that people buy these things for. Probably one of the best V8 engines ever made. 5.7 liter V8. Even though it's an '07, you can see timing chain. And it's hooked to Toyota's extremely dependable 6-speed automatic transmission. Look at Ford and GM. They went with those 10 speeds, and then some other GMs went to 9 speeds. Rolling piles of crap. Ask anybody who's had one. They have hesitation, shifting, up, down. They break down. They're extremely complex to rebuild. These things, hey, my grandson's got one. He's got 300,000 miles. Still got the original transmission and engine. Now, his engine burns a little bit of oil because he beats the heck out of it. But the transmission still ships perfectly fine. Now, it came from New Hampshire and Oxford, Rhode Island, I gotta say. It's a 2007, but he really kept it up. Even the cables aren't corroded. And the only thing that I can see is, okay, this bolt's got a little rust corrosion on it. So is that one. That's it. And when we go underneath, look at that frame. Not rusted at all. Unlike the new ones where most of the production is going to Mexico, this baby was made in San Antonio. I still can't figure their naming out though. They call it an SR5, right? Well, it's not a 5-speed manual, it's a 6-speed automatic. I don't know why they keep those numbers on. Now this has the Northeast package. I like that this side's black, it's more conservative. Even though it's been up north, look at those rims. Are they pitted? No. Now, if this was a Chrysler, Dodge Ram, whatever you want to call them, or a Ford truck, those rims would be so pitted in a 2007, they probably would be leaking air. These, no. Giant scan tool out, and here we go. Tundra North America 07. We could probably do a pretty good topology scan. Scan it through it, and as it is, we'll look through it. They added a JVC. It's not the Toyota anymore. The interior is in immaculate shape. Guy took care of it that he bought it from. Dash has no cracks in it. He did put these seat covers. He likes these hunting seat covers. And here we go, zero trouble codes. What do you expect? It's a Toyota. So let's go to live data. So we'll start her up, and yes, it has a regular key. It also has a real parking brake down here. Not an electronic one. Live data. Here we go. Black is good, red is bad. And before I forget, if you want, you can put it in manual, so you can shift it up and down manually if you want. The 4-wheel drive, you can manually set it. 4 low, 4 high, or just normal. Ignition's fine, mass airflow is fine. Oxygen sensor's good. Look, one is perfect. It's just 4 1,000ths or 9 1,000ths off. 0.99 almost perfect, so hey, it's almost perfect. But let's face the facts. This thing's only got 12,782 miles. He got one deal on this thing. Catalyst temperatures are exactly the same. Battery voltage is fine. I'm telling you about the electronically controlled 6-speed transmission. As you can see, all the data's black. It's all good. Nothing in it has a problem. And you can see the engine speed of all the cylinders is exactly the same. 0 misfires, 0 misfires. For a little road test. Now there's no backup camera because it's an '07. But this big window so we can see. Of course, being a V8, it's smooth as can be. I mean, these are smooth engines. He's got some tools in the back, so we'll hear a little clanking. It's not the vehicle. It's just the tools he got lying around. It is a work truck after all. Now, the reason people always like these vehicles is because of their strong V8 that can pull tons. My grandson's one pulled almost 20,000 pounds. You're not supposed to, but he did, and it got him where he was going. Smooth, reliability. Yeah, they eat up gas. All big trucks eat up gas. That's just what you're going to get. And now we got to wait for all this traffic to go by. And it doesn't have that stupid start-stop crap on it. I like that too. Here we go. We'll give it some gas. And it takes off. It is a big V8 engine. Transmission shifts smooth as silk. Other than the rattle in the back because he has tools, it's a pretty quiet running truck. I can hear the tires though. These are pretty much off-road tires. They are a little bit loud. Me, I'd go for a quieter tread myself. And of course, it corners perfectly fine. Really, this is one of the best work trucks ever made. You can hear all his tools sliding around. I'd probably tie him down myself, but what the heck? It says truck, he can do whatever he wants with it. No problem climbing hills, that's for sure. Whee! Fun truck to drive, smooth power. Nice ride. Man, did he get a deal on this TRD with less than 8,000 miles on it. Now, how did he find it? Well, I just found it on Craigslist. It came up, and 2 minutes later, he found it and ran over and bought the thing. I don't blame him. So, what do I think? If you want to buy a truck, try to find something like this. Look, he paid less than half of what a cheap new one goes for. You're not going to get a four-wheel drive one TRD for even twice of what he paid, but this, as far as I'm concerned, is 3 times better than the new one because it's got a V8 engine. It only had 8,000 miles on it when he got it. It will outlast those twin turbos that they're recalling, all of them. But they don't recall these babies. They can run forever. You're looking for the perfect truck. Don't think new. Think a used Tundra if you can find one. Search the internet. Be like him. The first guy in a few minutes to get it, buy it, and away you go. And even if you decide, like the original owner, he didn't need a big truck anymore, you can always sell it to somebody else if you get tired of it. People will fight over a truck like this. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, Toyota is admitting that there's transmission problems in their 2024 Tacomas. Only the automatic transmissions, not the manual. But they're not recalling them. They have a technical service bulletin for these 8-speed transmissions that are in the 2024 Tacoma. Toyota's offering to replace faulty 8-speed transmissions 2024 Tacomas as a technical service bulletin. Toyota does not consider this a safety issue and is not replacing transmissions. All the Tacomas, only those that have already broken. So if you own one, it's got to be broken before they're going to replace it. Out of a raw deal, they know they've made mistakes. If it is broken, they say they replace both the transmission and the torque converter. It's a very expensive deal. Well, if I were you and you owned one and you had a problem, I would complain to the NHTSA, because if enough people complain, the government will get involved and they'll say, oh, these transmissions are blah, blah. Now you got to replace them all. Look what happened before with their engines in the Tundras. They put in those V6 twin turbos and the engines are blowing up. They have to replace 100,000 engines. That's a lot of money, which is why Toyota's probably not saying we'll replace all the transmissions in these 2024 Tacomas, because that would cost them a small fortune. They're already losing a ton on the engine. So far, they sold like 130,000 this year, the 2024 Tacomas. If they had to replace all those transmissions on top of the 100,000 engines, they'd be losing a fortune. It's just showing that Toyota's starting to lose it some bit. They never used to have problems like this. They used to be really bulletproof. But, I don't know, I guess they're learning from the Americans. Let's make them cheaper. And it's all after coronavirus where they admitted that they couldn't have such a picky business when they have a part that isn't just perfect. They discard it and they put a good part in. Well, now they have a shortage of some of the parts, so they use ones that maybe were a little shady from before. They would have thrown it away, used the real good part. They're obviously having problems with their production. And these are Tacomas. Realize this, all the 2024 Tacomas are put together in Mexico. Don't move, Toyota. Go to where there's bad quality and you're having problems with your vehicles. Can you see the relationship there? When they made the Tacomas in San Antonio, Texas, they didn't have problems. Now they're in Mexico. The trannies aren't working right. Hey, says something, you know? Well, if you wonder where Cummins diesel engines are made, they're excellent engines. They actually make them in many places. Now, most are still in the United States. There's a Rocky Mount engine plant in North Carolina, Jamestown engine plant in New York, Columbus mid-range engine plant in Indiana, and a Cummins Darlington plant in the UK. And they also have plants in India, but they make them for excavators, tractors, haul trucks, cranes, generators, other big things. It's kind of a shame that Chrysler, for example, used to use a bunch of them. But then they got bought by Fiat, an Italian company, then Stellantis, European company, and they started putting stupid Italian diesel engines, which are rolling piles of crap. You do not want to buy an Italian diesel engine. They're on their third generation, the ones they're putting in the Jeeps, and they're still having problems. They're junk, right? The Cummins are really good engines, but they cost money. They're not cheap, so all these people are looking to save money, so they don't want to use them. For example, Nissan Titan, for a couple of years, they put a Cummins in, but then they stopped. I guess they didn't want to pay for the good, expensive engines. The engines were great, right? And they're not even going to be making the Nissan Titans. They're dropping the whole range, so Nissan's a failing company. You see a bunch of idiots, like Carlos Ghosn, who escaped from Japan and hid in a box and went back to his hometown, Lebanon or something. There's so many shady deals going on with Nissan, it'd make your head spin. But Cummins does make good engines. The problem is they're expensive. And obviously to cut costs, they're big, giant Cummins diesel engines. Those are the ones that are made in India now. They're cutting costs on that too. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.